The Los Angeles Chargers obviously murdered the draft last season by drafting quarterback Justin Herbert. I forgot who they picked with their other picks, but it doesn't fucking matter. They got their franchise quarterback for many, many years to come. So where do they go from here? That is what I'm going to talk about today. How did they build around Justin Herbert in his first real offseason after becoming a pro? So without further ado, let's get right into it. It was clear that their major need was offensive line. Their offensive line was not that good, and you have to protect your franchise. I wish the Bengals would have gotten that memo, but at least the Chargers did. And the Chargers, they made moves. They made major moves. During the free agency period, they brought in all-pro center from the Packers, Corey Linsley, to a 5-year deal. He is only 29. Hopefully he can be a leader of that offensive line for many years to come. During free agency, they also brought in Matt Filer, a guard from the Steelers. Me being a Steelers fan, he's good, not great, not bad. Matt Filer, definitely not a bum, definitely deserves a starting role somewhere. And then during the draft, kind of sticking with the offensive line theme, Rashawn Slater was there at 13, which is one of the steals of the draft. You have all these teams drafting receivers and shit. That's so stupid. Pick an offensive lineman and build around your young QB. Build in the trenches. That is exactly what the Chargers are doing. And it's awesome. You could tell that I love this. That is what Los Angeles is doing too. They are protecting their franchise. They recently moved to Los Angeles. They had no identity. Actually, it turns out their identity was the fact that they had no fans and they were playing in that soccer stadium. Now they hopefully have an identity with Justin Herbert, and hopefully he can be protected for many years to come. But I just want to talk about the Chargers roster in general and how I think they will progress this season. Because, I mean, obviously we talked about the offensive line, we talked about Justin Herbert, but this team is deeper than Justin Herbert and the offensive line. Sticking with their offense, we already know they have weapons, so I'm just going to talk about them because I want to. You have Keenan Allen, who is a fantastic receiver, and I do think he's Justin Herbert's right-hand man. I think that tandem can be one of the best quarterback-receiver tandems for a while to come. I don't know how old Keenan Allen is, admittedly, but I know he's not young, but he's not old at the same time. He is in his prime right now, and it is the perfect time for Justin Herbert to be entering the league. This is the perfect time. They also have Mike Williams, who was a very high draft pick, but never really panned out. Kinda another thing why I hate teams drafting receivers really high, because you don't know if they're going to pan out or not. But Mike Williams, he's good. He's not great. But yeah, he never really panned out from his time at Clemson. I do hope he does later, though, because he's a good player. I got nothing against him. So then when you look at the running back group, they obviously have Austin Eckler. It would have been cool to see them draft another running back to kind of give that more dynamic rushing game that I love to see, especially with their offensive line being so good. Because let's just say Justin Herbert during his second season, let's just say somehow there's a 5-6 game stretch where he's just not doing it, where he's just not playing football. It's not good, it's bad, or God forbid Justin Herbert gets hurt, which obviously no one wants that because he's awesome. But I would have loved to see them draft a running back because their offensive line is great. And why not have that rushing game too? We see the Browns do it. They have Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, and that fantastic offensive line. At the same time, though, they also have Baker, Jarvis, they have Odell, they have Austin Hooper. You can have both at the same time, and it works. So I was a little disappointed with that, but on the other hand, I don't think it's a big deal because they're that pass-first offense. They're a pass-first team. I get that. Fair enough. So, yeah, I do think that the Chargers offense, it is loaded with weapons, but we already knew this. They added Josh Palmer during the third round. They have a great offensive line. They have a great running back in Austin Eckler. This team is set up for Justin Herbert on the offensive side. Let's switch over to the defensive side and just list off all the young guys that they have down there. Let's talk about the defense because the defense is definitely young and it has a lot of room to grow. When you look at the front four, the main guy of that unit is without a doubt Joey Bosa. He has dealt with some injuries during the past few years, but hopefully he can stay on the field because when he is dominant. Losing Melvin Ingram, kind of seeing him like fizzle out of the Chargers, that did kind of hurt because him and Joey Bosa were a great tandem for those few years. I wish he was still there. I wish he was still as dominant as he was, but it is what it is. Then when you look at the linebacker unit, you have Kenneth Murray, who had a choppy rookie season, you could say. He definitely showed that potential, but, during his rookie season, he was not that good. Hopefully, though, he should be able to progress, which I'm not saying he's bad. People take that as me saying the player's bad. He will grow to be a good player in the next coming years. I do genuinely believe that. I loved him coming out of college. Kenneth Murray will become a leader of that defense. Then when you look at the secondary, Derwin James. The world needs more of Derwin James. He is an absolute monster. He is a game wrecker. He just cannot be healthy. I hope that these injuries do not really affect his career like that. Then I hope that he can just come back this year kind of like nothing happened, but the odds of that are kind of slim because it's back-to-back big injuries. So I'm hoping he does come back good, though. He is still young. He is definitely a beast, and he should be the leader of that secondary. So you got three young dudes who can be the leader of their respective position groups in Joey Bosa, Kenneth Murray, and then Derwin James. But then when you look at the rest of their defense, it is still incredibly young. Kind of going back to the D line, you see D tackle Justin Jones, who was a third-round pick from 2018. You see D end Jerry Tillery, who was their first-round pick from 2019. Then another D end, Uchenna Nwosu, second-round pick from 2018. This is a young front four, front five. It is very young, and they're all within that first, second, third round range. They also have Linval Joseph to just add more depth and be a veteran. I personally love that pickup. Then when you look at the linebacking core, you obviously have Kenneth Murray, some more young guys. You got Kaiser White, who was a fourth-round pick from 2018, and then Drew Tranquill, who was a fourth-round pick from 2019. So they are both young players. You look at this front seven, they're all young, at the exception of Linval Joseph. They are all young, then kind of keeping up with the theme and then going to the secondary. Oh, we obviously talked about Derwin James. You got Nasir Adderley as the other safety, who was a second-round pick from 2019. You actually just drafted Asante Samuel Jr., who was a great pickup to me. You got young guys across this defense. They're not all going to be great. They are not all going to pan out, and we know that. I hope that we know that, actually, because a lot of fans don't get that. They think all their guys are just going to pan out to be these great players. No. That's not how that works. Hopefully, though, you can have 3, 4, 5 guys from that major group of young guys just pan out to be studs, and then your defense from there will just flourish. And your defense is not your main part of your team. It is the offense. Because regardless of if your defense raw or not, your offense will be able to outscore a lot of teams. Just if 3, 4, 5 of those defensive guys can pan out, especially those three main ones in Joey Bosa, Kenneth Murray, and then Derwin James, if they can all pan out, this is a great team. This is a great team, and I do believe that. I do believe that the Chargers, I don't know what their identity is. Their identity could just be Justin Herbert, and that's completely okay. That's kind of like how the Packers, their identity is Lambeau Field and Aaron Rodgers right now. I guess that second one's kind of up for grabs, but you get what I'm saying. A great quarterback can be your team's identity. So hopefully the Chargers' identity can be Justin Herbert, and hopefully their defense can really step up to help out Justin Herbert, because boy, this team right now, this is a really good football team. So yeah, that's going to do it for me today. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, comment something, and subscribe if you want to subscribe and see more videos. And yeah, hope you enjoyed and have a great day.